Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on. We have no choice. We have no choice. Until we are able to determine and understand this problem and the dangerous threat it poses, our country cannot be the victim of horrendous attacks by people that believe only in jihad. These are people who only believe in jihad. They don't want our system. They don't want our system. And have no sense of reason or respect for human life. They have no respect for human life.
The majority of Americans, 58%, reject this call, reject this proposal to ban Muslims from entering the U.S. Now, I know your supporters agree with you, but this is a poll of the American people writ large.
I didn't do it for polls, so I don't even care what the polls say. I didn't do it for polls. Now, my polls happen to have gone up a lot since this announcement. A lot of people thought it would go down. I didn't do it for that reason, but with that being understood, when you're getting a phone call from a polling agency and they're saying, well, you support, the banning of Muslims, etc., do you think they're going to say, who's going to say yes? I don't think the polls are accurate. At the same time, I have many friends that are Muslims, and I will tell you, they are so happy that I did this because they know they have a problem. There is a problem.
Your Muslim friends
radicalized,
are happy?
I have many friends and at the highest level, and they're grateful. I have partners that are Muslim. I have unbelievable relationships.
They support a ban on Muslims entering the U.S.
They said no. They didn't want to call because they thought they didn't want to be accused of racial profiling. It sounds like a lawyer gave them that idea.
Well, let's talk about this from a national security perspective, because I was talking to an official who said, look, suppose there's a 22-year-old Muslim American out there who is already feeling alienated, and he turns on the TV and he sees the leading Republican presidential candidate by far saying total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the U.S., and the room goes crazy.
By the way, it's not total and complete, and it's temporary, but let me just say, you're going to have exceptions.
A quote, total and complete.
A lot of people agree with what I'm saying. And if you read a lot of the papers, especially the international papers, where they do have massive problems with this, I'm getting a lot of support. Now, it's temporary, but we have to get our arms around the situation.
Who are you getting
Let me just
from?
tell you, well, take a look, read the newspapers, read international
But I saw Netanyahu
newspapers.
put out a statement distancing himself from you.
Well, when
David
you say, no,
Cameron
not
did.
distancing himself. I had a meeting with Netanyahu. I could be at the meeting right now.
But he condemned your remarks, is all I'm saying.
He did, and that was sort of interesting. He modestly condemned him, and I thought it was somewhat inappropriate that he condemned him, but that's okay. He wanted to condemn him. That's what he does. Okay.
I just want to ask you one more question about that, and then I want to move on to some other topics, which is the question about whether or not this is constitutional. Two-thirds of the American people, 67%, says that banning Muslims from entering the country would go against the founding principles.
Well, first of all, they're not citizens, okay? I agree if you're in the country. And as you know, if you're in the country, I'm not talking about that.
Right.
Although I am saying you have to surveil. There has to be surveillance.
Courts have found that constitutional principles do apply to people who are not American citizens.
Hey, look, I'm about security. I'm about safety. I'm about borders. One of the reasons I'm sitting here and one of the reasons I'm so high in the polls is because it all started with the borders. And let me tell you, when I came out and announced that I was running for president, I took much more heat when I said illegal immigration and the borders, the southern borders and the wall and all of that, than I ever took for this. And I think you'll probably see that, but maybe a lot of people don't remember that. When my friends call me up, and they call me up very strongly, and they say, it's something, and these are Muslims, and they say, it's something, Donald, that has to be talked about.
But they don't support the ban.
Not really. I mean, why would they support the ban? But without the ban, you're not going to make the point. You're not going to be able to make the point.
So you're all about security even if it's against the Constitution?
No. I'm the biggest believer in the Constitution. But the Constitution also provides security. I mean, we have a Constitution that says, as an example, Second Amendment. If you,
I'm talking about the First. I know you like the Second Amendment, but
I love the Second Amendment, and I love the First Amendment. So look, I'm a big believer in the Constitution, okay? But I'm a big believer in safety. We have to have the right people coming into our country.
Talk to me.
Tell you the whole history of it. So
All right.
when he first announced it, he said Muslim ban. He called me up. He said, put a commission together. Show me the right way to do it legally. I put a commission together with Judge Mukasey, with Congressman McCall, Pete King, whole group of other very expert lawyers on this. And what we did was we focused on, instead of religion, danger. The areas of the world that create danger for us, which is a factual basis, not a religious basis. Perfectly legal, perfectly sensible, and that's what the ban is based on.
We don't want them here.
The order puts a 120-day hold on all refugees settling in the U.S., a 90-day halt on entry of visitors from countries of concern like Iraq and Syria, and blocks all Syrian refugees indefinitely. In a television interview, President Trump said he'll prioritize, quote, persecuted Christians.
They've been horribly treated. Do you know, if you were a Christian in Syria, it was impossible, at least very, very tough to get into the United States. If you were a Muslim, you could come in.